have you done?
He's taken her! He's taken my wife!
You've risked the safety of Troy. She must go back to her home.
You will condemn me to my death. Troy is my home now.
You have my oath, brother. She will be returned to you.
Call Troy your home then.
Brother, I can fight!
Go. Seek shelter. There'll be plenty of fighting ahead.
I don't know what to say, dude. I'm not that hype. Alright, just to get things kicked off, I've already played Total War Troy. You'll be seeing my own gameplay for it on Thursday, June 4th, so in a couple days now, but it is under embargo, so this discussion is going to be entirely framed around the trailer and the announcements that came today. Right off the bat, two big pieces of info you probably already heard. Total War Troy is dropping as an Epic Store exclusive for the first year after launch, and it will be free to own forever if you download the game within the first 24-hour period after release. There's a lot to unpack there in that statement alone, but my initial impression today was pretty much, ugh. I'm not very happy, and my hype for the game, which to be honest wasn't exactly all-consuming anyway, took a bit of a hit here for sure. I learned about all this stuff when you guys did. I had no idea Troy wasn't coming to Steam in its first year, and as I've said before, I think it's pretty smart for Creative Assembly to get these kind of announcements out of the way first, and then spend the rest of the time leading up to launch counteracting any backlash with the standard gameplay reveals and marketing shticks overall. But there is definitely backlash for this move, and not without reason. For one, I think most of us are Steam users. That's the platform we use to play games, first and foremost. At this point, Total War is inextricably linked to Steam. For more than a decade, it's been where pretty much all of us played this series. Now, I do remember a long time ago, when Total War first moved to Steam, people were up in arms then as well, just straight up hated the idea. As humans, we can be pretty resistant to change, and sometimes that's illogical, but there truly are some glaring issues with this move. Forget the China bad, 10 cents, 40% stake in Epic, and all that stuff. I want to have choice where I play my games. I have zero problems with Creative Assembly wanting to grow the fan base, reach out to a new market, and hit up different platforms, as long as we have a choice on where to buy it and play it. And with this deal, that's been taken away. I don't like dealing with 4 or 5 separate platforms to play my games. I already have Origin, Battle.net, Uplay, and Steam accounts, and handling those is a chore in and of itself. I don't want to add another one on top of that. Some of them have security issues. My first Origin account, for example, got taken over by some random Russian bot because it got my email address, and I couldn't delete that account, so I had to make a fake email address just to play my games. Uplay is horrendous, and I've already really not had any great experiences with any of the other alternatives either. I want all my games to be on Steam. That's the platform I use because it's the best product on offer. It has a quote-unquote monopoly because it's a better product. If Epic wants people to use its service, they need to make a platform that can actually compete. I don't like the idea of companies baiting new consumers in with exclusive deals. Make your product better and people will come. Now, in a perfect world, they'd get people to switch from Steam by creating features that fill a niche that Steam doesn't fill well, by doing things better than Valve, which at the moment, they're not even close to approaching. Everything I've seen from Epic so far is very bare bones, lacking user reviews or even a functioning storefront, for God's sakes. Ideally, people should have the choice to buy on Epic or on Steam, on whichever platform suits their needs best. And yet, CA have come out and said they won't be doing this again in the future. They're just doing this to test the waters, but that doesn't really mean anything because, well, actually, let me just read the quote real quick. We currently have no plans for any future games to be Epic exclusives. We do want to be more platform agnostic moving forward. This decision is part of that, and we would like future games to be available on the Epic Games Store. But that's in addition to being available on other platforms such as Steam. Which, I mean, sounds like some serious mental gymnastics to me. Like, your plan is to make your games available on all platforms by making it exclusive on one platform? Okay. Literally doesn't make any sense, but alright, whatever. What's to stop Epic from dropping another fat load of cash on Creative Assembly when Medieval 3 comes around? Are they really gonna say no to making it another exclusive if they're given another sweetheart deal by Epic or Tencent? My thinking is probably not. If the bigwigs think they'll make more money with an Epic deal, that is the route they'll go. So saying we currently have no plans doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't preclude them from doing this again in the future in any way, shape, or form. Now, Warhammer 3 has already been confirmed to not be going down this same road, which is great. It wouldn't make sense to, considering the first two games of the combined trilogy are already on Steam. But yeah, the door's certainly been open now for future Total War games to take that exclusive approach, and it doesn't feel like that's a very consumer-friendly move. Now, contrary to what others are saying, I don't think this smacks of desperation at all, or reflects poorly on what to expect from the gameplay in Troy in any way, shape, or form. I think they got a fantastic business deal, and they jumped on the opportunity, where Epic will pay them for every copy downloaded on their platform, as well as the exclusive rights. And from what I understand, Epic only takes a 12% distribution cut, while Steam takes a 30% cut. So, from a purely financial viewpoint, this move makes plenty of sense. But the big question remains, will people care enough about Troy to want to move to a platform that they don't want to use? And I don't think there's any way to know that right now. We can speculate till we're blue in the face, but we don't know. Clearly, they think it will be a good move for Achilles and Hector, and maybe it will, but only time will tell. My bigger concerns are that it completely splits the player base, won't have modding support for months, if not years after launch, and that multiplayer is guaranteed to be dead on arrival now. Not that I expected it to have much of a multiplayer lifecycle anyway, but if you can't play between platforms, and interest is guaranteed to have died off hard once August 2021 rolls around a year later and it finally comes to Steam, there's not really a point. And the modding part really sucks, because a lot of us use mods to improve elements of these games that are lacking and to extend the lifecycle of our campaigns. Being able to bounce from vanilla to SFO to mixed use content keeps things from getting stale. And when I get bored of one, I just jump to another. The fact that Epic doesn't have a mod workshop, that will have to rely on third-party downloads and use external sites to even mod the game, slows the whole process down like crazy, and will outright stonewall a lot of content creators who would otherwise want to take part. Just makes the whole thing a lot less convenient, which is really the crux of the issue here. This deal is inherently inconvenient for a pretty huge portion of the Total War fanbase. I love that the game is free for the first 24 hours. I think that's going to get a lot of new people into the Total War series, especially when it's tied to a legendary period of history like Troy. It's an extremely recognizable and famous era, and should bring in some fresh new faces as well, which is awesome. We want new blood. We want this community to grow and thrive. And I want Creative Assembly to make great money when their games are great. But Total War Saga hasn't exactly gotten off on the right foot. Thrones of Britannia was not great, and so I'm not sure Saga's done enough to engender community support for a shift to a new platform. I'm not mad, I'm just kinda disappointed, and all I can say is, I hope it doesn't become a trend. There's not a whole lot to break down in the trailer itself. We do have confirmation that Odysseus, Achilles, Agamemnon, and Menelaus are the four lords of the Greek side of the conflict. We might have already known that, or at least guessed it handily, but there it is, it's in the trailer. And Orlando Bloom appears to be reprising his role as Paris of Troy, which is great, love the guy, as Legolas as well, and the aesthetics of the game are gorgeous overall, but if I'm being honest, the trailer itself didn't really do anything for me. Three Kingdoms trailers were hype, Total War Warhammers were hype, this one did a decent job introducing the players to the setting, but didn't really get me super excited to play, which is a little bit disappointing, but again, it's just a trailer, so really not the end of the world. My biggest fear overall, and we've discussed this previously, is that Troy doesn't know what it wants to be, or at least doesn't seem to. That it's taken this weird middle-of-the-road approach between myth and reality, and kind of mishmashed elements of both together. And I feel like it might have been better served sticking to one design approach or the other, instead of trying to please everyone. It doesn't mean I'm correct, it doesn't mean the gameplay itself isn't going to be great, and I am excited to get back to real 360-degree siege battles and see what Troy itself looks like, to experience great siege gameplay again, see what the heroes, the Cyclops, and the Minotaurs are all about. But everything is hinging on a fairly new developer, a new dev team in Bulgaria. And though that has absolutely nothing to do with where the game is being sold or how exciting the trailer is, it's all combining to make me a little bit wary. I'm glad that this deal should prevent any financial disasters from befalling the company, and I fully expect Troy to be at the very least a decent game, but I'm not as excited for it now, and that kind of makes me sad. We'll see how things shake out, and remember, Troy gameplay on my channel Thursday morning. Be there. Should have a lot to say about it. See you then.